Welcome. These sessions will be recorded. I'm pleased you could join us for the Business Education Resilience webinars with 1917. My name is Pauline Markward. I am the Executive Director of the Greater Bowie Chamber of Commerce, which is made up of members with common interests and concerns related to the business environment in the Bowie area. It is the primary professional trade organization in the Greater Bowie area dedicated to the protection, enhancement, and success of business in the Bowie community. The Bowie COVID-19 Business Recovery Assistance Program delivers online technical assistance to help Bowie businesses accelerate their post-pandemic economic recovery. This program is a collaboration between the Greater Bowie Chamber of Commerce and the Bowie Innovation Center and funded by the City of Bowie. During this webinar, it is best to be comfortable with your video on. Remember to mute yourself. Please ask questions through the chat unless otherwise directed. Welcome, William Eric Lindsay, Senior Business Counselor of 1917 LLC.
Thank you, Pauline. Thanks again for having me and my wonderful teammate to be doing her presentation tonight. I'm excited. I've seen her presentation. I've seen her work. I'm excited, so I can't wait to introduce her. But I just have a little bit of some housekeeping here to do. I just wanted to share my screen with everyone. And here we go. So again, as Pauline mentioned, this is the business education and resiliency webinars.
Okay. All right, great. I appreciate you taking my call.
All right, let's go. I just muted the individual there. Again, this is the business education and resiliency webinar series. I'm a business coach. I'm also an accredited business consultant, and I have my own company. However, this is a team effort, okay? And you'll be hearing from one of our most excellent and one of my favorite people that I've met over the past couple of years, and what she does. So she's amazing. I'm excited for her. But the first thing I like to say is I'd like to give as much gratitude and acknowledge the Greater Bowie Chamber of Commerce for selecting me and my team. You guys had a lot of choices, and I'll say this, you did select the best team to do this. I can tell you that from the bottom of my heart. It's a heartfelt thing. And I just want to say to Pauline, thank you, and all the chamber members and president, thank you for selecting my team and trusting us and providing some great business technical assistance and advice to the small businesses, to the business community here in Bowie and the broader area of the DC area. So as Pauline mentioned, this is a resilience webinar series. This is a 2-section, 12-part webinar series for a total of 24 webinars. So we're in section 1, and we're in session 10 of the first section. What we did was we devised a programmatic approach. So if you were here from the beginning, we started off with setting a dream. What is your goal? And then we went into some business planning. We went into some financial literacy. Then we got really deep into things. So we built one webinar on top of each other. So today we're going to be talking about some sales and marketing. Oh, this is going to be cool. How to get clients. So if you remember from your business plan, we talked about your structure. What are you selling? How do you sell? What is your price and all that stuff? So now you're comfortable with that. Now we're going to have someone here, Terry, who's going to get into, all right, this is how you get your clients to invest in your company and invest in themselves. So take notes, be ready. So we talked about the operational parts of your business, and we're going to talk about the financial parts. We're talking about sales and marketing. And we also had someone who talked about the PPP and ILO program, an SBA official who was here not too long ago. He's going to return in the second session as well to give us updates on that, because after he did his session, they literally had changes after his presentation. So you definitely want to keep abreast of what's happening there. So I mentioned we have 24 webinars. We don't, we have 25. The last webinar is July 15th, which we're going to have something called a Pitch Your Business competition, and we have some really cool prizes for the winners of that competition. So we want the business owners who were part of this webinar series, even if you just came to one, pitch your business. And in the 12th webinar of both series, I'll be giving some instructions on how to pitch your business, because you've gone through your business plan, you've gone through your why, you've gone through your goals, you've gone through your marketing, you've gone through a whole bunch of stuff. Now it's about putting it all together and then creating your ask. So my ask for you today is to sign up and return for all the webinars. That's my pitch to you. So I definitely want you to share this, bring your friends and family, people who are in business and people who are even thinking of starting a business, because there's so much information for them to have as well. So with that, I'm gonna turn it over. I'm gonna stop sharing my screen, and I'm gonna turn it over to my dear friend, Dr. Terry Levine, and she's gonna take it over, and you guys are gonna have a great time with her. So Terry, let's go.
I am so excited to be here. So I just want to say welcome, everyone. I'm excited to see your faces. And I'm really going to do my very best today to not only educate you, but to truly help you and learn things that are practical and applicable so that you can literally leave here and implement. So this is a very special training. And I'm going to help you do what my client family members and I do. We get a conveyor belt every single day of qualified prospects that come in the door. They raise their hands and they're ready to pay you what you're worth. And here's the best part. It's all without spending any money on marketing or advertising. By show of hands, how many of you have spent money recently on advertising, Facebook ads, things like that? Let me look around at all your faces. Keep going. Anybody? Anybody? Okay. So lots of people have, and they invest their time, their money, and energy in things that don't work. Today, I'm going to share with you, and I'm going to reveal my whole systematic process so that you can get more qualified prospects and you can get them organically. And that means they come to you, they raise their hand, and they let you know that they're interested in your products or services. And I always like to start this with a little bit of a disclaimer. If you're an implementer and you actually leave here and do what I'm going to share, it's very likely that you can have major success. You can get the same kind of results potentially that I've gotten, my clients have gotten. And I always want to be very transparent. There's no magic pill. You have to implement, you have to take some action. It's not just going to be absorbed into your system. The training that I'm about to do is going to be different from most training that you've probably attended. Why? Well, I have been doing this for 27 years with over 6,000 client family members worldwide in over 444 different industries. So you're going to be like all of these other people. And I'm not going to ask you to make any radical changes in your business. Everything is going to be simple. It's going to be common sense, and it will exponentially change your marketing. And I promise that I will share with you exactly how to get a conveyor belt of prospects and literally dominate your entire industry, all of it. So before I dive into that, well, who the heck am I? I have founded 8 different multi-million-dollar businesses in the last 43 years. Let's pretend I started when I was 5, okay? That would make me feel a little bit better. And they've been in all different kinds of industries, everything from medical industries to art, to coaching and consulting and training and speaking. And I'm an author of 47 books. So there's all kinds of industries. I've been named the top female coaching guru in the world twice, and one of the world's top 10 coaching gurus and influencers in the world more than 18 times. Today, I was just sharing as I was chit-chatting before we started, I have a brand new book that just was released today, and it's called Turbocharge Your Business for Women Entrepreneurs, and it is actually available today, Kindle edition. So if that resonates with you, I will stick the link in the chat. There it is, so I don't forget. Otherwise, I'll forget. I have worked with, as I said, over 6,000 different kinds of client family members. My client family members have created 6-figure business, 7-figure business, and even I'm responsible for 3 8-figure businesses. The truth of the matter also is I wasted a lot of time, money, a lot, and energy doing both marketing and advertising completely wrong. I've done it the wrong way, and now I teach people to do it the right way. So the sad reality for me is I didn't discover how to build a multi-million-dollar business easily. I spent so much money just trying to get people to go to my website or download something or open an email. And then I wasted money on ads offline and online. And when I started to look at my marketing, it was lame, being very honest. You could have looked at my marketing and said, looks like everybody else's. I didn't stand out. I wasn't unique. I wasn't different. And I couldn't figure out why my marketing wasn't working until I realized it was copycat of everybody else's, and it was really, really lame. And when I realized that, literally that changed everything. And that's what I'm going to teach you so you can earn from my mistakes as well as learn from my mistakes. What I'm going to share with you, as I said, in over 400 industries, so it works, business coaches, consultants, social media consultants, contractors, business brokers, accountants, financial advisors, retail, brick and mortar, real estate, contractors, restaurants, software, doctors, dentists, remodelers, internet companies, blah, 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 manufacturing, we could go on and on. It works for everyone. It is a system. And when you have a proven system, the first thing that happens is you can stop competing on price. Because right now, and I'll share this with you, people look for the best price, and you can start charging truly what you're really, really worth and what you want to earn. You're going to learn today how to drive in more leads, how a higher percentage of those leads, without you selling them anything, will automatically say yes, how to increase the average amount of a sale, and how to get a really big bang from organic marketing. And here's the best part. You will finally have control over marketing and lead generation. Just want you to imagine for a minute what I talked about, the conveyor belt. Every single day, they're just coming in, they're raising their hand, and they're asking, how do I get to buy from you? That's what I established for myself, my client family members, and that's what I'm going to do for you. So I also want you to think about leverage. Leverage is one of my favorite words. I may mention it more than once here. Leverage is literally doing something once and having it make a huge, huge impact. So you're going to work in a very streamlined way and have a lot more time freedom as well. I believe that it's important to leverage your time, your money, and your effort or your energy, because I don't only want to create successful businesses, I want you to have an amazing life and an amazing lifestyle. Before the webinar started, as I said, we were sort of chit-chatting in the room here, and I live in Mexico in the winter. I'm here right now. I live here for 4 months. For a few months, I live outside of Philadelphia, and for a few months, I live, as we say, at the shore, because I'm a Jersey gal too. I have a life and a lifestyle by design. And then I have an incredible business where I serve and I help people all over the world. And I have massive time freedom. I have a leverageable, sellable asset if I ever choose to do that as well, or a legacy to pass on to my family. So I want you to take a minute and I want you to get excited about having eager, qualified prospects just coming in all day long, each day, every day. Some of you might not be old enough for this, but I used to watch I Love Lucy when I was a little girl. My favorite episode was Lucy and Ethel in the chocolate factory. And the chocolates were coming on the conveyor belt and they couldn't get them in the bags fast enough, so they were eating them. And I always laughed at that episode. And now that's what I create in businesses. I create that constant conveyor belt. So here's what is really important. I want you to think about your buyer for right now, your prospective buyer. They want to feel educated because they want to be confident that what they're purchasing is a good decision. It's the right decision. It's a smart decision. And think about yourself when you go and buy something, right? Well, no matter what it is, I research everything. I don't care if it's shampoo for a couple of bucks. I'm online reading reviews. I don't want to spend my money on something that doesn't work. You know, I saw this, somebody was telling me about a product on Facebook. They're like, oh, you have to get this. It helps you lose all this weight. I'm thinking, oh, yeah, right. I don't think anything really does that, but let me go look it up. And I wanted to be educated. I don't want to just buy something. So I want you to think about your prospects. Instinctively, as human beings, we want to make the right decision. And we don't want to go, oh, I knew I shouldn't have bought that. That wasn't right. Why did I sign up for that? And so we have to keep your prospects in mind. So we're going to talk about 3 secrets here in this webinar. Number 1, you cannot be a cookie cutter business. I'll go in depth in all of these. Secret number 2 is asking for the sale too soon is like asking for sex before you've even gone on a date. Now, I don't know about the rest of you. I would like to at least have dinner, maybe a glass of wine, some flowers, a little something, something before we just get right down to it. And secret number 3, really important. You have to understand the hearts. My business is called Heartrepreneur. We do business heart to heart, authentically, transparently, with integrity. We understand the hearts, the minds, and the emotions of our buyers. We think about our buyers. So when I talk about not being a cookie cutter, what I find is that most people have a lack of marketing ability. So let's say you're a chiropractor or you're a realtor, and I say, what business are you in? And you're hopefully at some point in the world, we're in live seminars again, and you're in the room, and I go, what do you do? And you go, I'm a realtor. I'm going to say, no, you're not. You're going to go, yes, I am. I'm going to say, no, you're not. You're in the business of marketing real estate. I'm a chiropractor. No, you're not. You're in the business of marketing chiropractic services, because if you're not marketing, you're not going to have a business. The problem is because most people don't have marketing skills, being transparent. My very first degree, I was a speech language pathologist, came out of school with a master's in that. I totally understood how to diagnose and treat speech and language disorders. Starting a business and getting patients, I didn't have a clue. Because of that, there was no discernible difference between you and a competitor. That's a cookie cutter when people, businesses, companies look alike. So I want you to ask yourselves a question right now. I want you to be really, really honest. Why would anyone choose you over your competition? If you look alike, if you sound alike, if you provide the same kinds of products and services, why would they choose you? Now, if your marketing is full of a lot of jargon, all of your competitors are going to sound just like you. One of my favorites comes from the coaching industry, in particular life coaching. I'm also certified, you know where I'm going, in a few life coaching programs. And I love this when people go, I'm a life coach and I can take you from point A to point B really fast. I'm like, every life coach says that. And what is point A? What is point B? How do you know I want to go there? And I don't know about you, but I don't know that I want to go really fast. So if you sound like a competitor, your marketing isn't going to work for you. We're going to evaluate your marketing now. I want you to do this really honestly with me. There are several ways to evaluate it and see if you're in the jargon trap. And if you are, we'll fix it. If anyone can respond to one of your little marketing lines by saying, well, I would hope so. We provide quality service. Well, I would hope so, or don't be in business. We do great work. Well, I would hope so. We read our emails. Well, I would hope so. That's jargon number one. When you make a claim, any claim, I want you to look at your websites, your social media, your emails, your marketing pieces, and really answer this. Would anybody look at it and go, well, I would hope so? We're in the process of buying a condo here in Mexico. When I met with the contractor, he said, I only build a quality condo. I said, well, I would hope so. You're in the construction industry. That's not going to separate him. So that's jargon evaluation number one. I've had people say, well, we're better. We're better than anyone else. And then they can give me a reason that other people can give me. We have convenient hours. Okay, so do a lot of people. Oh, we work virtually. The whole world is working virtually. Well, I would hope so. So you have to really take a moment and ask yourself. So I'm going to use a real example. This is a consulting company, and this is what they came to me with. Well, our consulting leads to change. Well, I would hope so. A consultant is about change and transformation. We increase the productivity, the performance, and the profit of your company. Well, if I were hiring a consultant for my company, well, I would hope so. So I really want you to think, are you saying anything where someone can answer with, well, I would hope so? In this case, those are the reasons someone hires a consultant. So that's going to make you a cookie cutter. You sound like everyone else. So let me teach you how to overcome that. I teach my client family members to create a core, unique positioning statement. And yes, it is a registered trademark to my company, core, unique positioning statement. Many of you may have what you call a USP or an elevator pitch. And I hate to tell you, but in my experience, most of them sound alike. When I used to go to networking groups in person, I always remember this. Somebody in the room stood up and said, I'm the dream maker. I turn your dreams into reality. I had no idea what business he was in. I went up to him and I said, what do you do? He said, well, I'm a financial advisor. I didn't have a clue. I thought you did something with a dream journal, dude. Like, I did not know. The core unique positioning statement, I'm going to teach you how to do it, makes your business literally the logical choice. And by the way, your competitors aren't being taught this. You were smart for showing up. You're going to stand out in your industry. You're a cookie cutter business, right? If anybody can go, well, I would hope so. Well, I would hope so. Well, I would hope so. Or if you do not have a CUPS, core unique positioning statement. So I want you to ask yourself, who else could say that? Who else could say what you say? I help you sell your house. Well, you're a realtor. I would hope so. So a core unique positioning statement is something that makes you stand out in the marketplace. No one else can make the same claim that you make. Unfortunately, the answer typically to when people show up and I go, well, what makes you stand out? And they give me an answer. I go, everybody could say what you say. You're not unique enough. And in fact, I'm going to share this little story with you. There's a kitchen remodeler that we worked with who ran a really impressive remodeling company. I mean, their work was amazing, simply amazing. And in my view, what they did was probably second to no one in the industry. I asked them to send me all their marketing pieces. Really looked like every one of their competitors. Their website looked alike, their Facebook, their LinkedIn, everything looked alike. Even their Instagram looked alike. Some of their words that I pulled is, we have certified subcontractors. Come on, say it with me. Well, I would hope so, right? Guaranteed satisfaction. I'm not impressed. You're not core. You're not unique. New cabinets installed. You're freaking kitchen remodeler, of course. Complete kitchen remodeling. You're a kitchen remodeler. I know we're sort of laughing at this, going, this is silly. Yet I really want you to look at your marketing and screen it in this way. They take Visa and MasterCard. They're a business. They have a merchant account. So my question to them was, who else can make any of the claims that you make? And they were honest and they said, everyone, right? So there's no core unique positioning statement. I'm going to teach you one final jargon detection. This one is really important. I always call this the scratch out write-in test. This is kind of my fun name for it. As you're taking an honest look at your marketing, take your name out or your company name and putting your competitor's name and go, could they also say that? So I have a client family member right now. She's a naturopath. And she told me, I work with women on hormonal imbalance and blah, blah, blah. I said, that's awesome. I said, I want you to Google a lot of other people who are in the same market. And I want you to look at your marketing materials and see if you could put their name in there. She came back to me in shock. She's like, they look and sound just like me. Exactly what we don't want to do. That's cookie cutter. Well, let me teach you the core unique positioning. I usually don't teach this, and I decided to give away the store, so I didn't do a slide. I'm going to do a special. Here's how you create a core unique positioning statement. You start with either I help, I serve, or I support. Or if you have a company, we help, we serve, we support. Then you tell specifically who. Not everyone, not people who want to sell their house, not women who want to feel healthy, men who want to regrow their hair, specific. So I help who, like in my case, I help entrepreneurs who want a conveyor belt of qualified prospects. So who do you help and what is the result? Conveyor belt of qualified prospects. I'm not telling you all the results. I'm not saying, also help you scale your business and build your team and close sales. No, I'm talking about the one result that people want. I help who specifically get what result. Then here's how you get unique. You mention a proprietary method, system, or process. So here at Heartrepreneur, we use a process that's called the conversion equation. I help entrepreneurs who want a conveyor belt of qualified prospects with my proprietary conversion equation. And one last line, guaranteed. Guaranteed. If you can't guarantee your products, programs, or services, please go do something else, because it means you're selling something that you're really not standing behind. So I guarantee, in fact, my client family members will increase their revenues 200%, or I will give them all their money back plus write them a check for $5,000. Your guarantee does not have to be that. It doesn't have to be money. It has to be that you guarantee. All right. I usually don't tip my hand on that, but I'm burning the curtain and tearing it back. Secret number 2. This is the one where you're asking for the sale, very quick before we've even had a first date. And it does for me personally, it just feels kind of yucky when people do that. I got an email from someone just today that I don't even know that said, I really want to do blah, blah, blah for your website. Here's my proposal. I don't even know this person. Like, why would I take a proposal? Did I ask for this? So I literally just block them. I'm not interested. So let's talk about this before we get into this. What really is the actual purpose of marketing? Marketing's job is supposed to facilitate a prospect's decision-making process. It's supposed to make it easier. It's supposed to help them. It's not supposed to be in their face, kind of tracking them and spilling your stuff all over them. Every one of you has prospects that actually need your products and your services. They need what you have. Problem is, they might not know about you. They might not have discovered you. The first thing that may need to happen is they might even need to be educated that they need to buy what you have. Just always giving an example, we just brought on a brand new client family member that I accepted today. And he reached out to my team, and then my team met with him. And he said, well, why do I need a business consultant? My team said, well, maybe you don't. What are your goals? And then based on his goals, we educated him as to why he wanted someone to help him instead of making expensive mistakes. So think about your prospects may need more education. Maybe they already know they need this. Maybe they're already looking. Maybe they're like, I need to find a chiropractor, or I need to find a Pilates studio, or whatever it is. Well, who do I get it from? Who should I buy it from? I don't know. And maybe they already pretty much know they want to buy from you. Yet they have some questions, some concerns. They want some answers before they make a purchase. Your marketing is supposed to help your prospects because they're not experts at what you do, at your products and services. You're the expert. They don't really know all the relevant issues around making the purchase, and they actually don't know how to make the best decision. And going back to what I said earlier, they want to make the right decision. So you have a great opportunity, and it's called education. And by the way, it says all I do for my marketing. I do one thing. I educate, I train, I help. That's all. If you educate, you simply help people avoid making a huge mistake, and then they make the right decision. When they have information and you help and you educate them, you can step them through the process to buying. So this is a sunroom. I don't know if any of you have one, but I've always wanted one back in Philadelphia. Won't quite have that view, but I wanted one. So I said to my husband, I want a sunroom. And he goes, do you know anything about buying sunrooms? I'm like, no, actually, I don't know a thing. I don't have any idea how to buy a sunroom, or I didn't even know where to buy a sunroom. I don't know about you, but I couldn't tell the difference between a $10,000 sunroom and a $25,000 sunroom. I saw pictures. I'm like, why is that one 10? Why is that 25? I literally had no idea. Think about me as a buyer. When people need to buy what you sell, generally speaking, they're like me. They're a little clueless. They really don't know. I looked at sunrooms going, I don't have a clue. I don't know. And is one company better than the other? Why? I had no idea. So your job, my job, is to facilitate our prospects and really help them make a decision and make it in a way they feel good about. So now I'm going to teach you a proprietary system that we use. We provide an educational gathering piece for folks, and it is called a consumer awareness guide, a consumer awareness guide. All my client family members have a template for doing this. Actually, if you want the template, I just put it in my Facebook group and I'm giving it away. Heartrepreneurs with Terry Levine. I don't think I'm good enough to type that in the chat at the same time, but I'll try later. Heartrepreneurs with Terry Levine. When you go on Facebook to that group, ask to join, go right in the files section and you'll get this exact template. I used to sell it. Now I'm giving it away because that's what I do. So here's what we do. We put together a consumer awareness guide. We educate consumers, we help them understand, and we're not promoting go buy it from me. So let's say I was selling a sunroom, I would teach you all the components of here's what's important in a sunroom, in the construction, here's the mistakes you can make from buying a sunroom, here's how you want to think when you buy a sunroom. And then at the very end, it says this consumer awareness guide was brought to you by Terry Levine Sunrooms. If you want more information, very simple. Every single day, my client family members have people download their guides, raise their hand, I call this reverse marketing, and come to them and say, hey, I'm interested. How do I find out more? Every single day, consumer awareness guide. Secret number 3. I said a little bit earlier about understanding the hearts, the minds, and the emotions of your prospective buyers. Most businesses, thank you for putting that in the chat. Most businesses know what a prospect wants. We kind of get it. We're kind of like, oh, I know what a prospect wants. There's 3 things that I want to teach you right now. I'm also a clinical psychologist, so I'm bringing a little bit of this in that you need to know about a prospect's brain. I'm not going to educate you too much. This is very important. They're called downtime, uptime, and the reticular activation system. Downtime, uptime, reticular activation system. Let me do downtime first. It's the easy one. Downtime is what you're doing like when you're on Facebook or Twitter or wherever you are, and you're just kind of scrolling and in a more of a hypnotic state. You're watching TV, whatever. Your brain is kind of in downtime. It's not really paying a lot of attention. It's not super focused and highly conscious. That's downtime. In marketing, what happens is people are constantly seeing and hearing marketing messages, right? How many times a day are you all seeing this? You open up social media, it's there. Your email, it's there. You know, you take a walk and there's billboards. You drive in the car, you turn on the radio, TV. It's marketing, marketing, marketing. But we don't notice these things on a very conscious level. We're kind of unconscious. We're in downtime. I had somebody who hired me several months ago say, I'd never heard of you before. I said, you've been on my email list for 16 years. They just weren't paying any attention. No attention. And that's normal. It's just the way it is. Uptime is when the brain goes, whoa, that's interesting. I'm paying attention. I'm engaged. Hopefully you're all in uptime right now. You should be in uptime. You should be alert, engaged. Think of your brain waking up and going, wait a minute, this is important. I'm going to be really conscious. That is when your prospects are open to suggestions and solutions, and they're kind of curious. Here's the key to all marketing. Your job and marketing's job is to snap a prospect out of downtime and wake them up into uptime. And I'm going to teach you how to do it. I'm actually going to teach you. Once you start to do this, trust me, you're going to have the ability to make a fortune with your marketing. In my very first business, I had no idea how to do marketing, none. And I definitely had everybody in downtime. And then I started using a statistic, a speech language pathology statistic about how many people did not know that they had some kind of a speech or language disorder. All of a sudden, people started to pay attention. What? Maybe I have one. That is how I literally turned that business, knowing nothing about business sales or marketing, into $1 million business. And by the way, 43 years ago, $1 million business was a lot of money. Not like today. It was a lot of money back then. Now let's talk about the reticular activator or reticular activating system. This is a part of your brain that works 24/7, even when we're sleeping. This is working. And what is it doing? It's kind of scanning. It's scanning the environment. It's always looking for things. It never gets shut off. It's always processing. And here's what it's scanning for. It's scanning for things that are familiar, that we're used to and comfortable with. On the opposite end, it's scanning for things that are unusual, that are a little bit odd, a little bit strange. And the other thing are things that are problematic. Do you ever go to bed and you have a problem, you wake up in the morning, it's like, oh, I know exactly what to do about that. It's like, how did I figure that out? Well, your brain was working on it, which is kind of cool. So let's talk about activators. Now, I have to be very transparent here. You may love me or hate me for this, but I am going to permanently embed an example directly into your reticular activation system. You will never be able to forget this. Hope everyone's going to be okay with this. I guarantee the rest of your life, you'll remember this. If you don't remember me, you'll go, I remember the one thing this woman did. You will remember this. You see these trucks all the time. It's a FedEx truck, right? Nothing unusual. FedEx drives by you. Look at the arrow. See the arrow between the E and the X? See that white arrow there? That just went into your reticular activating system because I pointed it out to you. Your brain will not be able to unsee it. Trust me, when you see the next FedEx truck, send me a text and go, Terry, you did it. So now you're probably going, well, what is this uptime, downtime, reticular activation? What does it have to do with marketing? Everything. And I do mean everything. And I'm going to explain it to you. If you don't understand how to wake up a prospect with your marketing message, how to interrupt the prospect and engage them, you just can't get a conveyor belt of prospects because they're not going to notice you. And they're going to notice your competitors who know how to do this, but they won't notice you. So this is critical. When you engage a prospect and you move them from downtime into uptime, and especially if you get that reticular activation system, you literally have the opportunity 1,000 times more to have them buy from you. 1,000 times more. And that's pretty freaking huge. It's pretty freaking huge. So I'm going to help you. You're going to solve this problem that every other marketer on the planet hasn't been able to figure out. So here we are, and all of us are going to dream up together something weird, strange, shocking. Because what we want to do is we want to get all those prospects in downtime to go, what? What is that? Get them into uptime, which is what we call interrupt. By the way, it's step one of the conversion equation, interrupt. So let me give you an example. I was working with a company years ago, and they wanted to do fundraising for a village in Africa that had really dirty water. I mean, horrible. So we rented a Dasani water machine that normally would sell bottles of water on the street, and this was in New York. And instead of putting bottles of regular water in the machine, we had bottles of the most disgusting, dirtiest water you could imagine. And unfortunately, it really did look like the bottles of water we'd seen from this village. And we had people on the street that would go up to you and say, hey, are you thirsty? Would you like to have a bottle of water? It's only $1. Just come over to the machine. People would come over with their $1. They'd get their bottle of water, and we would say, you just made a $1 contribution so a child in Africa could have a clean bottle of water. People were in shock, absolute shock, because what we did was interrupted people. They stopped. People didn't just purchase one bottle. People went into their wallets. They were giving us money. They were writing checks. We were running credit cards through a fundraising machine. Why? We woke them up. This wasn't quiet. It got them interrupted. It wasn't normal. They expected normal water. There is a key. Once the human brain gets activated, so let's say they're scrolling and they see something and it's like, well, that's really interesting. If you don't, after you interrupt them, step 2 of the conversion equation, engage them, they're out of there. So the brain starts searching. Is this important? Is this important to me? Instantly, we engage them by showing them pictures of families in Africa and the kind of water that they had. So what we did was we kept them engaged so they couldn't go back into downtime. Immediately, they were looking for more information, and that's what your prospects are going to use. What the brain searches for, and this is all happening unconsciously, is facts. Okay, you interrupted me. Now you better engage me with some facts. I'm going back into downtime, right back to sleeping and not paying attention, not going to be conscious. And it starts looking for facts. If the brain finds facts, it's interrupted, it finds facts and gets engaged, it wants more. It's paying attention. That's what the consumer awareness guide does. And again, if not, it goes right back into downtime. So in order to keep them engaged, You're going to talk about their relevant issues. I refer to relevant issues as hot buttons. Everyone who buys from you has some hot buttons, some emotions, some feeling. People who become my client family members have been struggling, have been frustrated, have been really upset that they have been unable to grow their businesses or spending a lot of time, money, and energy on marketing, or they've been doing it all wrong. So we address those relevant hot buttons. The brain is asking these questions. Is anything here relevant or important to me? So if you're talking about men, with hair loss, I'm going to move on, right? I've got hair and I'm not a man. It doesn't make sense. But if it's a hot button issue for me, where I am in my life or my business or my relationship, I start paying attention very, very consciously. The activator is what snaps a person from downtime into uptime. And it is based, all activators are based, again, on things that are familiar. When we're used to it, we pay attention to it. We've seen it before. And the opposite, unusual. What? This is not Dasani water. What? But initially, Dasani water, they knew what that was. Or it's problematic because the human brain loves to solve problems. So those are the activators. Activators are also hot buttons, only if they're relevant and important to your prospect. If you're here to learn about how to attract the perfect mate, and I'm talking about business growth and how to make a lot more money in your business, there's no reason that you would be activated. So you have to successfully interrupt, then successfully engage. These are parts 1 and 2 of the conversion equation proprietary formula. So how do you do that? Well, you do it by identifying the problems, the frustrations, the struggles, the annoyances, the things that keep your prospects up at night. And let me just say, don't guess at this. I have a client who came on board. He is also a consultant. And he said, my prospects' problems are that their teams aren't really working well together. I said, how do you know that? He said, I can just tell. I'm very intuitive. I said, you're going to go survey your audience and come back to me with data. When he came back to me, that wasn't the issue at all. The issue was recruiting talent, not at all what was on his plate. Once he identified that, then we could do a consumer awareness guide around that and then address them in his marketing, right? But you've got to do the research first. You've got to know that first to break through and to have success in the marketing you're doing. And you want to tap into problems people have. You don't want to come up with a problem that nobody has, right? So some of you won't be old enough to know this, but years and years ago, there was a thing called the pet rock. It was a fad. It was a crazy fad. Why? Nobody really had a problem of, I really want to have a pet and I want it to be solved. Let me have a rock. Okay. It was just a silly kind of crazy thing and it disappeared very quickly. When you tap into a real problem that people have, they pay attention. If you can solve a problem, if you can help people get their emails open, if you could build them a better LinkedIn profile, if you could help them close the sale or whatever it is that you do, and that's a problem they currently have, they're going to be interested. So I don't want you to agitate. I was taught agitation by some great marketing minds years ago, and I never liked it. As a entrepreneur, it never resonated. I don't want to agitate and frustrate. I just want to poke around, find out what people's problems are, and then I just want to point it out to them. Hey, that thing that you're doing, it may be a problem. So I have a friend who really wants to lose weight. And she said, while we're together, can you really tell me if you'd make food recommendations? I'm like, sure. So one day prior to the pandemic, we're out to lunch and she chose a burger with about 6 packages of mayonnaise on top of it and bacon and cheese and French fries. And then she dipped that into like 6 more packages of mustard. And then for dessert, she had an ice cream sundae. And so I said, Elaine, are you sure you want me to point this out? She said, yes, I really, really want you to point this out. I said, okay, I think that you're not making the best choices. And a problem that you actually have is learning how to choose the right foods. All I did was I poked at that problem. Now, I'm not here to sell her, a weight loss program or anything. I could certainly send her to people. She asked, and all I did was poke at it. Okay. I didn't agitate and go, oh my God, look at what you're eating. I just don't think that's cool. So remember, this activator is what interrupts the prospect based on a relevant, it's got to be a relevant hot button. Yes. And it's funny, the pet rock did make millions. And here's something very funny. I was talking about this with a group of my clients. It was in November and it was on a Zoom meeting. And for my birthday, which was in December, one of my clients sent me a bunch of cute little gifts. And one of the gifts was this gorgeous box. I couldn't imagine what was going to be in it. I opened it up. She took a rock and she painted on it pet rock. So I have a pet rock now. How about that? So the hot buttons are relevant. Now, your brain, you see it, right? You can't not see it. I told you, sorry, you can't unsee it. The brain starts seeing it because it's unusual. The brain starts seeing it. Now, why you don't notice it all the time, why you've gone about looking at FedEx, signals and trucks and not paid attention is because you've seen it so many times. They put that logo over and over and over again. It became familiar. You don't really see it anymore. Amazon just got, everybody gets in trouble these days, but they got in trouble for their Amazon logo. And supposedly it all of a sudden looks like Hitler's mustache. It didn't for years. It does now. What do I know? I never really looked at the Amazon logo because I'm so used to seeing it. Amazon comes like every day that I just don't pay attention. So that's what happens. Our brains, when we have an activator, just notice it really quickly. And then I'm in downtime. I looked at the arrow. It's not important to me. I'm not looking at it anymore. So if you feel stress and struggle and confusion and frustration in business growth, I would say most entrepreneurs have and do, because what people are taught is just go interrupt people. And that's going to work. Just do that in your marketing. If you have a good headline, it's going to work. No, it's not going to work. It doesn't. It never has. What it does is literally interrupts your prospect. They're not going to take any action, even if they paid attention. It's not worth taking action. So you've got to do more. What do you have to do? Educate them, show them that you're different, have a core unique positioning statement, have a consumer awareness guide, and activate what is already on their hearts, their minds. You've got to do a little research though. You have to go ask current client family members, past client family members, and prospects what their hot buttons are. So I'll give you my secret question. If I could give you one result and only one result as a business, like I would say it as a business consultant, but you'd say it for whatever you do, as a realtor, as a mortgage program, whatever. What is the one result that you want? Because that's going to tell you the hot buttons. When I wrote this new book that just came out today, Turbocharge Your Business for Women Entrepreneurs, I went to over 300 female clients and said, what was the hot button that you had in working with me? What was the thing keeping you up at night? And in every single case, it was, I'm working way too hard and not making enough money. So once you know what the hot button is, then you can do marketing organically, no advertising, and it simply works. So behind this little slide is a daycare center that my company worked with. And we first started working with them. I said, what do you do that's different? We're high quality. How many of you can go, well, I would hope so. Are you going to send your kid there? You want to be high quality. We have attention to detail. I would hope so. We supervise our staff better. I'm not even sure I know what that meant. Okay. Other claims, we're honest. Well, I would hope so. We've taken care of more than 200 kids. I don't care. I only care about my kid. I don't care about the 20,000 kids ahead of mine. Literally, I looked at them and said, no wonder you're struggling. You're filled with jargon. And I could do that cross out sniff test, right? Scratch and sniff. We provide a safe, nurturing, and creative environment. We optimize your child's development. We're acclaimed by thousands of parents and accredited by industry professionals. Now, by the way, not every daycare center does optimize your child's development. Some of them are like babysitting centers. Not every one of them has thousands and thousands of parents as testimonials, and not many of them are accredited in the industry. And a lot of them really don't have safe environments. So these are some of the things that we started taking a look at. And they had all teachers, Every single person on their staff was a teacher. So they were a leader in actually educating your child. Your child wasn't just sitting there playing with blocks, they were literally getting educated. But all of that marketing, it spoke about the child care, how good we are. We're nurturing, we're educators, we're caring. It doesn't speak to me as a prospect. All I care about is my kid. That's all I care about. So you have to make sure that you are focused on the prospect. Let me just review the 3 secrets. No more cookie cutter businesses. Asking for the sale too soon. That just, I don't know. I got to tell you, gives me the heebie-jeebies. I don't resonate with that. And taking time to really understand the hearts, the minds, and the emotions of your buyers. So before I answer questions, like I promised in the very, very beginning, I want to show you what to stop doing and what to start doing. By show of hands, would you agree it's been time well spent? Are you glad that you came? Did you learn something? Let me look around. Yay, 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 yay. Hello, I didn't see a lot of your faces before. Good to see you. That's what I came here to do. So good. I put this together and I just wanted to put in like 5,000 slides because I can't cover everything you need in one training. And I realized I can't even cover it if we had a day together. And I just want to help and give you information. But the truth of the matter is, because I've been doing this for so many years, I know that old marketing habits, they die kind of hard. They don't just, I don't know if any of you have ever been a smoker. Sad to say that I was for a number of years. I wish I wasn't, but man, it was hard to give that silly thing up because old habits die hard, whether it's, smoking or whether it's marketing, especially if you've been at it for a while. I have a client right now who, no matter what I say, he's spending all of this time on social media. And I'm like, dude, are you making any money from that? Well, no, but I've been doing it for years. Okay, well, let's stop because the other 6 things you're doing are taking 20 minutes and you're making money and getting prospects. And he's like, why do I keep doing that? Old habits die hard. So I have it's literally a bona fide step-by-step system. And I call it superior marketing because literally it's reverse marketing. People come to you. Every single day, I wake up in the morning and people have downloaded my consumer awareness guide. They've joined my groups. They have messaged me. They've emailed me. They've contacted me on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, wherever, every single day. So the phone is ringing. I'm not doing anything other than providing education and doing what I taught you, 2 things of the conversion equation: interrupting and engaging. That's all I do every day. It's actually fun, it's joyful, it's easy, and it works. So this lead generation system, it works for everyone. I have worked with startups. I've worked with General Electric, Ford, Merck, large hospital chains. Doesn't really matter what your business is or the size of your business or even the location. Right now, I have clients in 19 countries, and I have a guy from a little tiny village in Singapore, and he keeps going, it's different in Singapore. And I'm like, just keep doing what I tell you to do. He's like, it's working. Yeah, it's not different in Singapore. Marketing is marketing is marketing. The first thing I want to have happen for all of you is stop competing on price, because if I can cross out your name and put somebody else's name in, I am going to go with the person who has less money. Okay, I am going to go with the person who has less money. Right now, I'm looking for an architect to design what we need here in our condo in Mexico. I met with 4 of them virtually on Zoom, and they all did a layout that was very cool. One person is about 60% less than the other because none of them have a core unique positioning statement and they're all cookie cutters. I'm going with the lowest price. So I want you all to get paid what you're worth. And I really mean that. I want you to design your business so you get to have the kind of money you want and the kind of time freedom that you also desire and deserve. With this system, you drive in more leads, you convert a higher percentage without selling. And I really mean that, without selling, because when you have the right people, they come to you raising their hand, reverse marketing, they want to buy. The amount of your average sale goes up. And in my experience, you get a bigger bang for your marketing buck because most of what we do is no cost. There's a few things that are low cost that you don't even have to do, but you make a lot more money instead of spending money. The biggest thing, and this is why I do what I do and I love it so much, I want you to have total control of your marketing. If I want to make more money next month, I just do a tiny bit more marketing and I turn the nozzle up and we have more prospects. If I want to slow down for a little bit, we turn the nozzle down. If you're in a business right now and you're not controlling that lead flow, then business is going to get cyclical and you'll have problems. Let's talk pandemic for a moment. So I have owned a virtual company for 27 years. Now, I was not quite wise enough to know a pandemic was coming. I was wise enough to know that business is cyclical. When I first started in business a few years later, there was the dot-com crash, right? There was 9/11. There was a recession, the stock market. Now there, was pandemic and political, and we could go on and on. All I ever knew was that business would be cyclical. And so I needed a system that would work regardless of what happened in the economy or the world. So when the pandemic hit, nothing changed in my business except we grew 600%. And we were already a multi-million-dollar business. 600%. I had to bring on massive teams of people. Why? Because we were already positioned in a way that we could help a lot of businesses. So when a lot of businesses in the pandemic started raising their hand going, I have to go virtual, I have to do telemedicine, I don't know how to do some of these things, my business can't go virtual, we went, wait, let's see if we can help. So you need to have your business positioned where you're in control of the business versus it controlling you. The system is innovative. It's step by step, just like I've been teaching you. Everything is step by step. It's easy, it's effortless, and it lets you market your business on autopilot. Remember the slide with the leverage? It's all about that. I want all of you to be better than your competition. I want to buy from all of you because you provide better than your competition does. And if you have better marketing than your competition, if you understand, I gave you 2 points of the conversion equation, which were interrupt and engage. If you do those 2 things and then you learn the other 2 things, no one can compete with you. No one. Your business will stand out, even with your core unique positioning statement that I taught you. So what happens is you become the obvious choice. There is no one else. There's no one else to work with. I work with a guy who does search engine optimization, and he's one of the most expensive people in the world for doing this. And so if a client says, well, can I work with your guy? I'm like, yeah, I'll refer you to him, but he's going to charge more than anyone else in the world. And they're like, why? I'm like, he guarantees his work. It definitely works. He is amazing at what he does, and he's the clear choice and the expert. People hire him because of that. 95% of all businesses, in my experience, and we do a survey every year of thousands of businesses, we look at their marketing, they're kind of inept because they're really not understanding the hearts, minds, and emotions of their buyers. They don't know the conversion equation. They don't have a core unique positioning statement. And their sort of inside reality of what they think their company is and the outside reality of what the world sees is not going to match up. So it's time, I like this slide. It's time you're going to take the boxing gloves off and not to put them on. People think, oh, I got to start, really marketing. I'm like, no, we take the gloves off. We market heart to heart. We're transparent, we're authentic, we're in integrity. And that's how we grow our businesses. And it makes all the difference. So why is what I taught you going to help you enable and dominate your marketing? Why is it going to do that? Number one, the good news is most people don't know how to do this, and now you do. Most people actually don't even understand the potential that they have in their marketing. And most businesses are spending time, money, and energy doing marketing all wrong. And they think advertising is marketing. Like, I can't tell you how many people have come to me with pay-per-click ads and Facebook ads. Gosh, a guy just came to me with a moving company, his radio ads. And I'm like, how much did you spend on this? What are you getting? It's not even breaking even. I'm like, and you're doing this because? Okay, people just don't get this. And a lot of times I have people come to me and they think, well, that's as good as my marketing can get. I have a client now, she's doing about 300,000 a year. And she came to me and said, I really want to scale. And I said, well, why do you think you haven't been able to scale? And she literally said, well, I think, what I'm doing in marketing is as good as it can get. I'm like, you're not even doing halfway decent marketing. and look what you're getting. So when we go to decent marketing, wait till you see what you're going to get. By the way, she added in 3 weeks, $68,700 and some odd dollars right to her bottom line for just changing her core unique positioning statement. So as a result of what I've shared with you, number one, I want you to stop doing marketing wrong, but I want to share a true story of a chiropractor that we have worked with, just so you can see how this applies. He came to us and he had spent $10,000 on Facebook ads, and those ads ran for several weeks, and he did get phone calls. The ad was to drive in calls, and he got 15 calls, okay? He got one patient, $10,000, think about this. He got one patient, and the patient was $1,900. Let me ask you, honestly, pretend it's you. You laid out 10 grand. You have a net loss of $8,100. You're never going to get that back. In addition, you've wasted time and energy and effort on that. How would you feel? Well, he felt awful. Oh, I'll answer that question in a minute, Sharon. He felt awful. So I said to him, what if we could take just $1,300 of that marketing budget? What if we could put the conversion equation into that ad? Change the ad, use the conversion equation. Are you ready? It's going to blow your minds. Instead of getting 15 calls with one sale, he got 137 calls. His phones were blowing up, and I do mean blowing up. Of the 137, 37 of those people came for a chiropractic paid visit. That's 37 new patients for $1,300. Each one of those patients is worth an average of $2,500 to him. So what did he generate? Almost $100,000 from a $1,300 ad. That's just typical of the kinds of things that can happen when you use the conversion equation. That's what I call getting great results. And he didn't have to put any additional, it was a lot less money. He didn't have to put energy or effort or anything into it. So I want to offer you this system to reach what I call the ultimate pinnacle in life. And it's really the blessing that I've been able to have for the last 27 years. Financial freedom for yourself and for your family, and the ability to do whatever you want with your time and money. You know, you don't have to live in multiple places like I do, but I do a lot of charity work, foundation work, spiritual work. I like to take walks. I like to go to the beach. I'm a writer, whether I'm writing books or writing articles. I just love to do that. You get to spend your time how you want with kids, grandkids, spiritual practices, the gym, whatever resonates with you. So here's what I suggest. Let's jump on a call. And I want to literally show you how to acquire a new customer and how to explode your revenue individually, because there's so much that I don't know about your businesses. Let's start looking at your business individually. How can we accelerate your profits? Every one of you has a unique situation, and I treat everyone as a unique business. There's just no way that I could make a, one size fits all strategy, but on a call, I can find out where you're at and we can move really, really fast. And again, this has worked for, every kind of service business, coaches, consultants, strategists, advisors, mortgage brokers, realtors, brick and mortar. I went through all these before. Or it works for people who are startups, people who need a turnaround, people who had a pivot during the pandemic. Works for people who just can't scale. They're doing good. They just can't scale, or they're trading time for money and they're ready to create a business that can work without them. It works for doctors. And I really want to jump on a call. Now, on the call, I want to tell you what we're going to do. I'm going to ask you to come to the call talking about the barriers you have so that I can give you some tips to overcome them. I want you to also be really clear about what are your income goals, because we're going to do a step-by-step customized strategy for you. Now, I have to tell you a couple things. I can't do this for everyone under the sun, so I might not be able to fit all of you in, and I apologize for this in advance, but we have a lot of people. So I'm going to ask you to book a call. It will be with the chief strategist on my team because my calendar is packed. His name is Ken, and he is amazing. He has worked for me for quite a while with me, and he is a chief consultant. And let's look at your business and let's really look at how to create what you desire. You'll walk away from the call. It's not a sales pitch in disguise. I hate when people do that. Have a complimentary call. Anybody ever had that and all they want to do is pitch you? Okay, well, number one, Ken doesn't pitch you. Number two, we don't accept people for a program on the calls. All we basically do is find out about your business and then help you. And then, yes, if we think we can help you and you're interested, we can talk about applying to go further, but that's not the purpose of the call. I want to be really clear and transparent. We're going to share tools. He's going to give you resources. He'll do some consulting with you and share experience with you. I can do it for 10 people. So some of you I know are going to be watching this and aren't here live. I can't make any promises, but you can go over here. The offer will not last. It's tinyurl.com/Terry's team. tinyurl.com, TERRIS, Terry's team. And if he has any slots open on his calendar, book it, get the assessment. And by the way, you will love him. He's a doll. He's a sweet man and you'll enjoy it. I want you in this moment to stop scratching your head and wondering, where do I go for help? Who can help me? Really want you to do this and do it right now. Thank you for putting that in there so that I can help you. And now we can unmute folks. We can ask questions. I know Sharon had a question, so I'm happy to answer that and any other questions. So Sharon, let me find you. I'm going to unmute you if I can find you. Give me a second here. Sharon. I'm not seeing Sharon. Maybe she had to jump off.
Oh, no, she's here.
Oh, there you are, Sharon. You're right in my beautiful face. Hi, Sharon. Nice to be with you.
Hi, nice to meet you too.
Thank
you. So I guess with listening to everything that you shared, do you recommend marketing on social media?
I'm really glad you asked this question. Good question. I'm just going to mute you for the background noise. Thanks, Sharon. I don't know how I missed you. I've been looking at your face almost the whole time. I was scrolling. So here's what I don't recommend. I don't recommend being on every social media platform. Let me start there. Pick the one platform where your target audience is, where you actually enjoy hanging out. Okay. I'll be really transparent. I always tell myself, I go on Twitter, but I do not use Twitter for business. Don't follow me on Twitter. I'm an activist on Twitter. Okay. If you want to see an activist, that's what I do on Twitter. That's a personal thing for me. I'm on LinkedIn and I'm always very transparent. That's my team. It's not me. They're making connections. That's not me. I tell people all the time, being transparent, I'm not there. Somebody pins things on Pinterest and put stuff on Instagram. I'm not interested in Clubhouse or anything else right now. It's enough channels. I happen to love Facebook for a couple reasons. One, my target audience is there. Two, my group has about 5,500 like-minded people. They do business together and they work together, and I go in and I do live training every single Tuesday at 2 Eastern. And I like Facebook because my family posts pictures there. So I'm going to use Facebook. Now, I only spend 20 minutes a day on Facebook. I use Newsfeed Killer, so I don't see anybody's newsfeed. I don't need to see that you ate a peanut butter sandwich or, here's a cute picture of my cat. I just don't. All I do is I go look at where can I add value. I look at pictures of my family, my friends, and then I look to how and where to add value. So I recommend one channel, Sharon, where you add value on a regular time. Does that make sense? That calendar should be active because I clicked it and I got there just a little while ago. Hang on a second. Terry's team. I got there. I got there just fine. I'll put the URL in here too. You can do the direct URL. I put that in the chat, but I got there using it. I clicked it. No problem. So Sharon, let me unmute you and make sure I answered your question. Oops, there you go.
Yes, you did. Thank you.
Awesome. I am so glad. That was my intention. Yay, great. I'll take any questions or any comments. I'm literally here for you. I'm here to help in any way that I can. Let's see. Is anyone else having problems with the URL? I'm not having any problem with the URL, and I'll put this back in for everyone. I got there. When I got there, that tiny URL directed me right there when I clicked it. So there it is. give that one a shot. I got there from the tiny URL though, but don't worry about it. See if you can use that one. That one should work. I'm clicking it, gang, and it works. So let me actually show you. This is really weird because it's coming up on mine. Fine. So hang on, let me go back to share screen. Share screen. Share screen. Okay, I clicked. Hang on. Share screen. Share. I clicked the tiny URL. Oh, now I see what you're saying. Oh, now I see what you're saying. Let's try something else. Now that's weird because it always works. So let me ask you to do this. I'm going to ask you to send an email. You're going to get a little special treatment for this. Send an email there, and in the subject, I just want you to say webinar. And what I'm going to do, I like to do special things. Instead of a 15-minute call, I'm going to have Ken give you a 45-minute call. So you just lucked out because the link didn't work. I don't know why. It works all the time. So I apologize. I really don't know what happened to the link. But you know what? We talked a little bit earlier, some of us, technology is an interesting thing. That's all good. All right. Any other questions? I want to answer as much as I can for anyone. What else do you have?
This is so amazing, Terry, as usual. Every time I hear you talk, I get the same emotion, like, yes, finally, this is amazing. Everyone needs to hear this. One of the most, I think one of the major takeaways that I get every time I listen to you, it's always a different one. This one I heard, understand how you educate the person reading your marketing material is so important. Let the marketing material work for you while you're asleep. When someone visits your website, when they see your flyer, when they read your social media emails, you are speaking to your prospect, but they're actually hearing themselves take them. They're reading your material, but they're personally going through a journey of sort of like a self-reflection as to, this is why I need to go and buy Sharon stuff. She's telling me why I need to buy or invest myself with her stuff. And that's kind of what I got from what you're saying. Would that be a fair statement?
That is 100% a fair statement. So what happens is, well, you, Sharon, I look at Sharon's core unique positioning statement. I read her consumer awareness guide and I go, oh my gosh, she is clearly the expert. I gotta reach out to her. And then I reach out to her and I already, and this is the key thing here, I already know that she's the right person. I already know that. Why do I know that? I know that because she has already shown me that through her core unique positioning statement and her consumer awareness guide. Does that make sense?
Sharon?
Yeah, I mean, for all of you, does that make sense? Yeah. And it's really, really important in my experience that you stand out and you look different. And then when people come to you, they are truly raising their hand and they're already ready. So sometimes people say to me, well, train me on sales. And I'm like, you know what? We don't sell. We don't sell. What we do is we chat with people, we help them. If it's the right person and they're interested and we think we can help them, because I have a big guarantee, right? 200% ROI, then we'll talk with them and we'll see whether or not we can help them. And then for all of you, I simply hold out my hand and make an offer. So I don't care what you're selling. I don't care if it's a product or a service. All you do literally is your hand goes out and you say, can I help you? Let me give you like one little mindset thing. Anytime somebody comes to me and says, I don't like to sell, I basically say, does your product and service help people? If it doesn't, as I said earlier, get out of the business. But if it really does, I love what I do. All I want to do is help people. That's all I want to do all day long. I want to help people with their businesses. The world of business has been so good to me. I just want to pass it on and help others. So if I have something that works really, really well, and I don't offer it to you, that's pretty darn selfish. So let's say the world is opened up again. There's no pandemic. I invite you to my home in Philadelphia, and you had a long drive and you come, and I say, would you like some lemonade? I just made some. If you say yes, that's fine. If you say no, it's just as fine. I don't know why you're saying no. Maybe you don't like lemonade. Maybe you're not thirsty. I don't try to overcome objections and manipulate you. Oh, well, I really think, Charles, you should have lemonade. You had a long trip. And Charles, I just made it. And I spent a lot of time making it. It's really good. Lemons are good for you, right? So I really want you to think about that. You simply hold out your hand. I want you all to always think about the lemonade. You hold out your hand and you say, would you like some? That's all you want to do. Would you like some? Make it simple, make it easy. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and what's also beautiful, you talked about your client in the Philippines. It doesn't matter where, it doesn't matter what you sell. You're actually creating a relationship from your marketing material. So you're not selling, you're creating a relationship, and this is why your business is from the heart. You're making those connections. Like Charles, I think if I recall correctly, you're an engineer, right? Yeah, he's an engineer. So same concept. How do you get people to get into and buy your service?
Right.
So Charles, jump in. You got Terry on the line here. Jump in. Question. I'm putting you on the spot, Charles.
No, I guess, the only thing I was wondering is I guess me more in the engineering field, does social media still work, or more is that like LinkedIn or, versus like the Facebook and Instagram?
Oh, I'm so glad that you asked. Thanks, Charles. So, with all the stuff that's gone on with Facebook, I have so many people like, I'm leaving Facebook. Well, the truth is most people didn't leave Facebook. Facebook is still the huge gorilla. It's not going to go anywhere in my experience. It's going to change. It's going to shift. People leave, people go. There'll be lots of other platforms, right? Clubhouse, and there'll be tons more. Facebook is the biggie. Facebook is Instagram, it's WhatsApp. They're looking to buy more platforms. They'll change, they'll modify. If you understand Facebook has more users than all the other platforms combined. And here's the big thing on Facebook. Facebook, the average user spends 30 minutes a day on Facebook. On other platforms, the average is under 5 minutes a day. So we're talking about the conversion equation where you are interrupting and engaging. You have a much better chance of doing that on Facebook than anywhere else. Now, LinkedIn, it's good for connecting with the right people if you can find them in Sales Navigator. So let's say you worked with teachers. Well, it's easy to find. People are listed as teachers. You find that category. But if you're selling something like to overweight women, there is no category that says overweight women. So then LinkedIn's not the right choice. My recommendations to all of my clients, regardless of business, is definitely have a presence on Facebook, have a business page, 100%, and people check that for credibility, 100%. Mine is Heartrepreneur Terry Levine. And you can just see how it's laid out. And by the way, I tell my clients, so I'll tell you, you can model that page. If that page really works, it's Heartrepreneur Terry Levine. That's my business page. The second thing on Facebook is either start your own group or 100% be active in a couple of Facebook groups. I'm not active in a lot of groups. I'm active in 2 groups other than my own, where I can literally go in and I can make a difference. People are asking for business advice, and I can go in, and I don't have time to do everybody's comments. I'll scroll and do 2 or 3 and say, well, here's a recommendation I might make, and I'm out. I'm not going in there trolling, right? I'm going in there and saying, how can I add value? How can I help? And that's what I'm doing. The other platforms are not as good for lead generation in my experience. And I don't put ad money into the other platforms. I do like Sales Navigator for finding the exact target audience. So one of my target audience is naturopaths, integrated medicine, functional medicine doctors. I didn't have a big list of those. Very simple. We just started connecting with those people on LinkedIn and then telling you transparently, we drove them over to my Facebook group. That's all we did.
Thank you.
Okay, so I just got a message from Calendly. The calendar is not functioning. I have a Calendly also, and Calendly is not functioning. That URL is correct, but it's not functioning. It's okay. Send me, as I said, you're getting something bonus and extra. Just send me that email, terry@heartrepreneur.com, say webinar. You don't need to put anything else in the subject. Ken will reach out to you tonight or tomorrow once the calendar link is correct. And I'm going to have him just give you 45 minutes, which we never ever do. So that's my gift for the inconvenience. My Calendly isn't working either. So there clearly is something wrong with Calendly right now. And, you know, technology, I don't know about the rest of you, but I love it sometimes and I hate it sometimes. But anyway, so that's my business page link. If you want to look at the business page, just how to set it up, model my setup, look at how I did my bio and look at how I organized it. It really works. I became a verified user with a blue check mark on Facebook just because of how my page was laid out. And then I was able to get 24, 25,000 people to follow me. But it was because I laid it out I study Facebook. I'm a Facebook like junkie nerd in a way that it really makes a difference. So you can actually model what I've done.
Question.
Yes.
I'm Monique.
Hi, nice to meet you, Monique.
You too. If you could have us visualize a graph of marketing and sales, and not to go into anything extensive, but it's just like a quick graph and where you fit into that. What would you say in terms of, so let me go back. If you could have us picture in our mind a graph of marketing and sales where the end result is generating sales, not leads, but sales, as you mentioned before, how would that graph look and where would you fit into that picture?
That's an interesting question. Thank you for asking. So sales cannot happen. So sales are here because they make money, but they can't happen without a huge amount of lead flow. If you don't have a huge amount of lead flow, you're going to have a very low amount of sales. If you have a huge amount of lead flow, then you're going to have a giant amount of sales. So in my world, I don't actually focus on sales, as odd as that might sound. I focus on if you get a conveyor belt of all of those qualified prospects. So look at the beginning of sort of this graph. Whoo, here's Terry, and the lead flow is on. A certain amount of those people are literally going to close on their own. Now, am I going to also, in this graph, as you're getting all these leads, am I also going to direct you to, hey, here's some ways that you can make a sale without manipulating, without pitching and overcoming objection? 100%. Since I teach a Heartrepreneur method, I'm going to tell you how to do the other two pieces in the conversion equation, which are step 3. Oh, I'm really giving you guys everything. It was a good question you asked. Educate and offer. Educate and offer. And I'm going to teach you how to actually make the offer so that you probably get more yeses than you've ever gotten. Although you won't overcome objections or manipulate, it will be the most honest sale. You will literally be able to go to bed sleeping fine and not feel dirty. So on the graph, I'm in the beginning. Get that funnel going crazy with not just a lot of people, but seriously qualified people who are like so ready to hire you. And then here's sort of the fun part. As this happens and we work on the sales part here, we're going to tweak this so you're only working with the right people who are perfect client family members. Now, being totally transparent, I've worked with over 6,000 people. I have this guarantee of a 200% ROI. I had one person who asked for their money back. I did. And she didn't do the program. Okay. You're supposed to show up and do the work. It's not a magic pill. Well, the truth, I gave her money back. Okay. Because if I screwed up and I took a person who didn't do the work, I felt responsible. I'm like, I probably shouldn't have taken her. So now we have an even higher level screening process. Thanks, Aretha. So I gave her money back. I said, you know what? You didn't do the work. So technically you're not entitled to the money, but I'm going to give you the money back anyway. So you're going to get the process dialed in is kind of my point. And it's going to be the right people at the right time. Make sense?
Yes, it does. So so you're at the top of the funnel and then you help with the bottom of the funnel also.
Correct. Yes. I liked your question. Thank you for asking that about the graph. I've never had anybody ask it in that way. I really liked that. Thank you. Very cool question. I like the way you phrased it.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
I just got your book, so thank you.
Oh, awesome. Yay. I'm so excited to hear
Yeah.
that. Yay, yay.
Just bought your book. So this was wonderful. Is there any other questions before Terry enjoys her evening in Mexico? We're in between her evening enjoyment in Mexico. We're standing in her way. She's here, so keep asking questions if you'd like to. But
No, I'm totally enjoying my evening can start later. I showed up to really be of service.
oh, thank you. So please take advantage of what Terry's offering. There's so many, and this is one reason why I wanted Terry to, Dr. T to be
Thank you.
to be on our call and to be part of this webinar, because I know what she does works. I met some of her folks, and we Terry and I, Dr. T, I respectfully call her Dr. T. We're part of a closed networking system, and a lot of professionals are in there. So yes, I've seen her work, and it works really well. I use some of her techniques definitely, and they work. I always want to fine tune stuff. So I've already reached out to Terry's group to even help me in my business, because we all need that help. It doesn't matter where we are in our path and journey of our business, whether we're starting or we're 5 years in business, 10 years in business, doesn't matter. It's always good to have an assessment of what's going on. So take advantage of what Dr. Terry is offering. So, we look forward to that.
Thank you. And just send that email. It's not just his Calendly. I see mine isn't working. So Calendly might be having a little bug. We'll get it fixed. Go ahead, Monique.
Yes, so I found it interesting of your background, and that's because I've been in special education for 20-something years and now transferred to business. And so, we worked in the same school building, we would be working together pretty much. But I just wanted to know, what was that transition like to go from speech and language pathologist and clinical psychologist to marketing?
That's such a good question. So I started off as a speech language pathologist, and I went into private practice, and I didn't know a thing. I mean, to be very transparent, within a year in the business, I opened up a drawer one day and I found tons of checks in there that I never deposited. I'm like, oh, I had no clue what I was doing. It was awful. I couldn't get doctors to refer to me. We had moved from the East Coast to the Midwest. None of the doctors would see me. The town was like one big clique. And I literally sat in a doctor's office almost all day till he finally came out. He said, I don't know what you want. Get in my office. And I went running in there. And I said, all I want is a chance. I just want to see a couple of your patients. I'll do a really good job. He's like, fine, anything to get rid of you, right? He sent me 3 patients. They did great. And then I started to realize I wasn't great at speech pathology, but I was really good at marketing. And so I started taking courses and trainings on marketing and sales. And I quickly realized I hated the way people were selling. So I threw all those courses in the garbage, because I'm like, I am not going to use the penny clothes, the Ben Franklin clothes. This is so not authentic. And after I sold my speech clinic, I went into an art business. I became an art consultant, and I started to, quote, sell art. And the first time that somebody told me how to sell art, they said, well, use the alternate close. And I hated it. And I said, I won't close anymore. I threw everything I had in sales and marketing away and said, I'm just going to go with my heart. I'm going to show people their art. I'm going to say, hey, if you like it, it's yours. And if not, no problem. And I became able to sell art like through the wazoo because all I was doing was helping people make a decision. So along my journey, clinical psychology, and then I ran a rehabilitation company. I was president of a national healthcare company, and I owned a bunch of businesses along the way. The transition was getting really good at marketing my own companies. And this is something that I tell people all the time. There's a lot of people who are, and I've hired them, that are false experts out there. And they take a photo, of themselves in a Lamborghini or who knows, I've seen it before. And they put on this good act as if, they're great at all of these things, right? And a lot of them aren't. And a lot of their information is really screwing people up. And I call that the enemy, like public enemy number one. And so I realized I'm really good at marketing. Like I'm growing every business that I've owned, I just grow it and it's easy. And then I started seeing friends and family and they just couldn't do it. I'm like, well, I'll help you. And then like 27 years ago, after I got my consulting 3 licenses and certifications and 4 coaching and consulting, and then I got into positive psychology and then clinical psychology, I'm like, I should just do this as a business and help people. So that's my kind of crazy journey. Does that answer your question?
Yes, it's amazing. Wow.
Pretty crazy. But you know what? I say this every day. When you get into the right thing, you never work a day in your life. I really mean that. Like I feel so at home doing what I do. I'm doing the right thing. I wake up every day, can't wait to do it. It used to be for me, I remember Sunday nights, like, oh, to go to work on Monday morning. And now I'm like, oh, I get to meet with my clients. It's a totally different experience. And I changed my clients' business models so that they make a lot of passive income like me. And I find that that's a very important thing. We can't spend our lives trading time for money, or all of us are going to die behind our desks. And I want you to live your life. Every one of us knows our birthdays, but we didn't come into this planet with a checkout date. It's not stamped on our feet. I live in the moment for the moment as if this were the last moment. And I really believe that's important. Live fully and enjoy. So I'm glad that's resonating. Do what you love what you do. Thank you.
I can't thank you enough, Dr. Levin. I can't thank you enough.
Glad you've been here. You can call me T. By the way, all my friends call me T. We've been together for a few hours. You can call me T. I'm delighted to be here. I'm here to help. Again, just send that email as soon as Ken's Calendly is working, if not tonight, tomorrow. Instead of giving you 15 minutes, he's going to give you 45. You'll fall in love with him. Everybody that talks to Ken comes to me and like, thank you so much. I'm like, you're welcome. So it's my gift. Enjoy it.
Cool. Is there any final questions before I start to close out?
You're so welcome. It's a pleasure.
I did send you one. One of our listeners is in the car.
Oh, okay.
Yes, that's right. One of the listeners said, I'm in the car. Please ask Terry how she would tailor her model to Pentwater Federal Market, given the scrutiny and lengthy sales cycle. I'm guessing Pentwater is a typo. It's probably more maybe federal contracting market, giving over the lengthy sales cycle process that federal contracts have.
Okay, so one of the things that I work with people on is doing a process in a different way. So even doing an RFP in a different way, or the typical process. I have a client right now who what they said was like a 4 to 6 month sales cycle. And I said, what if we could change that and we could make it a month? They said, oh, it's not possible in my industry. It is. So let me just say this. If you're open and you're curious, we can create a model that's different. In my experience, in the kind of industry you're in, you're using a model that everyone else is using. And in my experience, that model is flawed. And it's what causes these things to take a while. So if you're open and curious, we'll get on the phone and we'll help you look at an alternative model. We'll co-create one with you. But let me give you kind of a way to think about this. I'm going to use a very different industry. It will still help. Years ago, I was approached by General Electric to come in and do a lot of work in their company. And they said, okay, we're going to need an RFP. And this was my response. And this is quite shocking. Right? I said, I don't do RFPs. What are you talking about? I'm like, well, I was president of a national healthcare company and we got RFPs all the time. We looked at RFPs and went, can we do this in-house more cheaply now that we have it all laid out? Or we went to 3 other companies and went, hey, here's this person's RFP. Can you do what they're doing? Yeah, can you do it cheaper? Great, you're in. And all these companies spent a lot of time, money, and energy creating these RFPs. So when General Electric, when I said, well, I won't do an RFP, I'm out. And they're like, what do you mean? I'm like, well, you could pay me for the RFP. That's hours of my time, my proprietary knowledge. And then if you hire me, I will take that off of your first invoice. Well, they said, we don't do that. I said, okay. 2 days later, I get a phone call and they said, well, how much would you charge us to do the RFP? And so I came up with a price, a very high price, by the way, because it takes a lot of time for those of you who've done RFPs, and I'm giving away proprietary info. They paid the price. Now, I did it a second way with a client recently. Client came to me and said, this company is demanding that I have to go through this. And it's going to take a sales cycle forever. And I said, tell them you won't do it. They said, no, then they won't buy. I said, we're going to create a video and you're going to explain why you won't do it and what you're going to do instead. And they created a video RFP, which I've helped clients do. Totally different thing. And they're getting the contract. I've done this with large companies, Johnson & Johnson, Merck, Panera Bread. I've done it with electric companies, water companies, gas companies. So if you're willing to be open and curious, let's get on the phone and see if we can work it out. Yeah.
That was a multi-million-dollar tidbit right there.
This is a very good question. Really good question.
Great question. And that was a multi-million-dollar response. So thank you again for that great tidbit.
Anybody else? Anything else?
Anyone else before we head to close out? All right. Well, with that, again, I just can't thank you enough. I'm just going to leave it right there. I just can't thank you enough. This was amazing as usual. And I just look forward to reconnecting next week or week after when we can chat. So I'll definitely do a write-up for you in our group.
Forward to that. And if anybody, like you have a question or something dawns on you, the best way to actually get me, I don't look at my own email. So I'm just being transparent about that. My email is triaged. All of the ones that you sent me with that subject line will go to Ken. We'll take care of that. Enjoy your vacation. Thank you. So what I'm asking you to do, the best way to get in touch with me, inside that Facebook group, Entrepreneurs with Terry Levine, anything you post, I'm in that group every day. I answer. If you have a question, I'll either do a video for you, I'll do a training, I'll give you a free resource, a tool, go right into the file section and grab some of the consumer awareness guides templates. They're in there for you.
Cool.
Right. Thanks, Pauline.
Thank you.
Oh, absolutely.
Thank you so much. All right. So with that, I'd like to share my screen a little bit. And I just want to say again, thank you. Thank you for this wonderful presentation. And thank every one of you who attended. Again, just please tell everyone about the webinars. Please tell everyone this is also recorded. So you can also go back and listen to it again. I'm sure you will. I think Pauline is going to have this posted either Monday or Tuesday, if I'm not mistaken, on the Chamber website. So again, this is part of a business education resiliency webinar series. So one thing builds on the next. So next week, we're at session 11. So we're getting close and closer and closer to the end of our first session of 12 webinars. So the next person who is going to be speaking is going to be this guy. He looked kind of familiar. Yeah, he's all right sometimes. Next week, I'll be doing the next webinar, and we're going to be talking about exiting your business. All right. And it's definitely not what you think it is. All right. A lot of the clients I work with in the business coaching and consulting world, this is one of the things I actually start off with is, hey, great. Now you're in business. When are you going to finish your business? What does it take for you to get there? And what does that look like? You know? So for example, just to give you a little preview, you know, when you're employed, one of our first training in entrepreneurship is your first job. Whether it's in college or in high school, you're getting paid to be they're paying you to be trained as a business owner, believe it or not, because you're getting paid to do work, but they're actually training you a skill, whether it's in sales or whether it's in marketing, or even if you're a waiter or a waitress, they're training you. They're getting paid to train. So think of it that way. But at the end of that, what do you want to do? Because you look forward to your retirement, right? But you never think of retirement on day one of your job. So in the business world, we walk into the same mindset in our business, and we wait until we have to retire. We're like, oh my goodness, I don't have an exit plan. So that's what we're going to talk about next week. We're going to be talking a little bit about exiting your business and what that looks like, and it's going to be an interesting conversation. So I look forward to having all of you back next week. And one more note, our good friend, Dr. Terry Levine, Dr. T, or T as she likes to be called, she will be back on Thursday, June 17th. She's going to be back. I don't know where, she might be in Philadelphia. You're going to be in Philadelphia?
Yeah, so I'll either be in Philadelphia or in Atlantic City, New Jersey, one of those places.
There you go. There you go. She's going to be in one of those places on June 17th. But please, if you thought this was great, she's going to mix it up a little bit on June 17th. And I guarantee you're going to get some new tips, because, you know, if she's working with clients that made $68,000 in 3 weeks, imagine what we'll learn about maybe 2-3 months from now in June 17th. So write that date down. Terry will be back. So with that, I'll close it out. I'm going to turn it over to Pauline. So Pauline, thank you for, again, having both of us on the webinar. We look forward to coming back in section 2 pretty soon.
Awesome. Thank you. And I'm going to launch the poll. You can see that now. And thank you for joining us today. If you could take a moment and answer the exit poll questions. Another informative interview and webinar from 1917. Thank you, Terry, Dr. T. Just a pleasure spending time with you this evening. And thank you, William. And again, now more than ever, we need a business plan. So this concludes our event. So if you could just, again, take a moment and finish answering the poll, and we'll see you next week.